When Priska Jebet Kindador was commissioned to write this episode, she wanted to really dive into the history of the area. And I shared with her that for more than a century, Saline County was in the heart of Little Dixie. And as you all know, Little Dixie is a region that is the I-70 corridor extending from Kansas City to St. Louis, and then from St. Louis north to Hannibal, where the legacy of slavery cast a long shadow over daily life. And even after the Civil War and emancipation, legal segregation mandated separate schools for Black children. Here in Arrow Rock, Black children first attended school at the Browns Chapel, and then later at the Brick Schoolhouse, which is on Morgan Street. In our neighboring town of Marshall, the segregated institution for Black students was the Lincoln School. Now, while teachers and students in both Arrow Rock and the Lincoln School worked to create a really outstanding environment for learning, they operated with far fewer resources than their white counterpart schools. In 1954, the Supreme Court's ruling in Brown versus Board of Education declared separate but equal was unconstitutional. And soon after, Black students were permitted to attend Marshall High School. Slowly, the doors to educational equality began to open, yet the process of full integration wasn't immediate. It was a gradual journey in Marshall, culminating in 1961 when the Lincoln School was finally closed and all the students in Marshall began to attend integrated schools. Integration of the two schools here in Arrow Rock occurred around 1956, and Missouri Valley College in Marshall began admitting Black students in 1951, actually. Marshall native Nellie Page Carter published her book Persimmon Creek in 1938, 16 years before the Brown decision. Scholars have discovered articles that she wrote leading up to that book that indicate her intention was to promote racial harmony with her early works as an author. Reviews from the period suggest it had a positive impact on race relations at the time. Reviews in the New York Times and in Howard University's Journal of Negro Education that year highlighted the warmly human characterization of the people in Mrs. Carter's story, fostering empathy, they said, among readers. Howard University is an historically Black university. The book emerged during an era when explicitly sympathetic and non-stereotypical portrayals of Black characters were really less common. For its time, a story like Persimmon Creek that characterized its Black characters with dignity and with humanity was seen as a positive step forward in race relations. Critics have pointed out that despite Persimmon Creek's good intentions, the use of dialect and the illustrations in the book may be viewed as perpetuating stereotypes by our modern standards. They note that the book features a style common in what's called the Black Americana literature of the time, and while intended to sound authentic, such writing is now often viewed as a form of caricature that reinforces the stereotypes rather than promoting the genuine racial harmony. Now, Persimmon Creek, the book, can be seen as a product of its era that attempted to foster the empathy and the human connection across racial lines, while its methods often reflect, or they do reflect, its time. And judging past intentions by modern standards is complex and it's often flawed. True historical analysis requires understanding the past on its own terms to learn from it. As the playwright for what she inspired, Priska spent a lot of time on her analysis of Persimmon Creek, pondering Mrs. Carter's intentions, the character of Mirandy Williams, and the lasting impact that the book had on Nancy Blossom. In 2020, Nancy founded the Persimmon Creek Writers and Artists Residency here in Arrow Rock. What you're about to experience gives us a glimpse into the complexity and the beauty of human connection. So thank you, Priska. It's been wonderful to collaborate with you, and you've created a beautiful story to share with us. And now, without further ado, what she inspired.
Hi, Mrs. Carter.
Oh, hi, Nancy. Dear one, how was school?
It was good.
Nancy,
Yes, ma'am.
come over here. What did we talk about, child?
Being honest.
That's right. Now, Miss Nancy, how was school?
It was strange.
Nancy, come over here. Why was it strange?
Things are different.
Are they?
Yeah, really different.
Okay, I'm sure they are. What's different about it?
I don't think the teacher likes any of the new kids.
Yeah?
Yeah, she was mean to Sammy. We were working on a math problem up at the board, and he was having a really hard time. I tried to help him, but she stopped me and just berated him in front of the whole class. It was awful, Nellie. Why are people so mad about the Negro children going to school with us?
Well, people don't like new things, sweetheart.
People don't like it that much?
Nancy, are you okay?
Would Miss Nancy like a soda?
Yes, Mirandy, I would like that very much.
All right, then. Let's go ahead and get your little soda. And I think I saw some fudge back there.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yay, thank you, Mammy.
Of course, darling. Now, you go on back there. Nellie, you want to tell me what this is about?
It's about nothing. Why are you making this about something?
Oh, please. I don't exist nowhere but in your mind. And somehow, in this exact moment in history, I, a fictional character that you created, am responsible for a child who is dealing with a new development in school.
She's just going to school with new friends.
She is going to school with Negro children. That is new.
Yes, I know, but she'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yes, this is Arrow Rock. We're always fine.
You are always fine.
That's rude.
You wrote me. It ain't my fault.
Do you think it's okay that I wrote this?
Wrote what?
This, Persimmon Creek, the novel where you are the voice of reason.
So that's why you're asking me?
I'm asking you because you're my inspiration.
Yes, I know. I'm in your head. I've seen photos. I'm literally in the photos. Oh, Lord, I worked hard for you.
Excuse me?
No, not to say I don't appreciate all your work. I do. You appreciate mine, right?
Of course. I guess that's why you're here, in my mind.
Exactly. I'm here in your mind, and you're aware of that, which means everything is fine. I'm simply a figment of your imagination, trying to process the current new world of desegregation, which is way better than the world I was dealing with when I was actually alive.
Oh, you're still not alive.
Well, yes, you and I know I'm not alive, but I kind of am, right? You base me on your sister-in-law's mammy.
I did, yes. It just feels strange.
Why does it feel strange?
Well, because,
Because of what?
well, I've always felt strange writing these stories.
And what stories are those, Mrs. Carter?
Well, you know.
I'm a fragment of the figment of your imagination. So no, I don't.
You're a character in my mind. You know that, Mirandy.
I'm a character in your mind. So this conversation is actually just you processing a lot in your mind. So that being said, yes, Miss Nellie, please tell me what we're going to do with that mind of yours.
You're being rude. You know that, right?
Nah, Miss Nellie, I would never do that in my life.
You're in my head. You don't have to fake this.
Okay, listen.
Finally.
I have been here in your head for a long time, longer than you even realize.
You are a character in my mind. There are so many things that are different that may not be current.
This happens sometimes when you're dreaming, doesn't it?
Mrs. Carter!
Oh, Nancy, how are you feeling?
Much better. Mirandy was right.
She always is, isn't she? Nancy, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am?
What do you see when you see Mirandy?
A grandmother.
Really? Just that?
Yeah, a grandmother who understands.
Nancy, how do you see me?
An aunt.
Really? And why is that, child?
Well, because Mirandy is a protector. She's been really good at explaining things to me and helping me make sense of them. This new world, it's a lot. My friends are getting made fun of and I can't do anything about it. Oh, well, at least it feels like I can't do anything about it. I guess being friends with Sammy is doing something, right?
That's right.
Mirandy taught me that. So I guess you kind of taught me that.
Nancy,
Yes?
I want you to remember something.
Yes, ma'am.
You are a powerful, smart person. You're extremely intelligent, way more intelligent than that teacher of yours.
Oh.
And these next few years, well, I'll be honest, they're going to be hard. That's just the way politics go. You take a few steps forward, folks get scared of change, so we take a step or two back. But Nancy,
Yes, ma'am.
go ahead. Tell her, Mirandy.
2 steps forward are still 2 steps forward.
Don't give up. You understand?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what people say. You keep working and doing the right thing. This place depends on it.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. So what can I do to help Sammy and my other new friends?
Play with them.
Talk to them,
Be kind to them.
value them.
Okay. I'm going back to school tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Can you walk me to school tomorrow? I'm still scared.
Young lady, I would be more than happy to.
Why are you looking at me, Nellie? You created me. You already have what you need. Now go help that girl and all those other folks. Goodness me, go on. Would you believe all of this was a dream and Nellie Page Carter just had? She's probably had a version of that dream 1,000 times. As you know by now, my name is Mandy, and I am the grandmother character from this book, Persimmon Creek, which was published in 1938. You can consider me the moral compass, Nellie's conscience. I guess I know some of you are thinking, she's the magical Negro. Well, yes. You see, writing books and stories for Negroes can be complicated. Let's just say that. especially in the segregated 1900s, especially in the heart of the Little Dixie. Nellie Page Carter was from Marshall, and she set the novel here in Arrow Rock.
I was doing the best I could.
I know this, and so do they. Well, some of them know this. But this is why we are here. Let me take care of this. Nellie Page Carter, ladies and gentlemen, the author of this wonderful book.
Why, thank you. Does that compliment count coming from a character that I made up?
Well, I liked it. Its characters changed my life in a major way.
Thanks, Nancy. That means a lot to me. But I've always wondered, can something be both problematic and still have a positive impact?
That is an interesting thought. I mean, I certainly hope so.
The answer is yes, ladies.
Oh, wait, Mrs. Carter, we're doing it again.
Doing what?
We're asking a marginalized individual to explain their struggle to us. We should know better. It's like we're asking her to be a consultant, and we should pay her.
Oh, yes, you're right. We should. Wait, how do we provide compensation to a fictional character I created?
Oh, calm down, for goodness sakes. Yes, there is tension here. A white woman did write a book about Black experiences, and the illustrations are, well, let's just say unique at the very least.
You don't like the illustrations? They were created by Alice Caddy, a very well-known illustrator of the time. She received positive reviews and accolades.
They may not have aged very well. She was a white woman illustrating the Black experience.
Well,
However, this book did have a positive impact on people. Didn't it, Nancy?
Yes, it did. That story you all saw earlier about the black boy, Sammy, that was all true. In the 4th grade in 1957, we were doing double-digit problems on the chalkboard, and he was having a hard time following along. Rather than do her job and help him, our teacher decided she would rather humiliate the poor boy in front of the whole class. I think about this situation to this very day. You see, Nellie, in your book, you painted a picture of 2 young children just having fun. They just happened to be Black. At least that's how I saw it, from my perspective anyway.
why, thank you, Nancy. That's what I was trying to do. So I thought and hoped.
And that's exactly what you did. You wrote a charming story about little Black children exploring and going on adventures with questionable illustration.
You don't find them a little bit charming?
For the time it was written, I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. Well, for the time, of course. I wonder if we can figure out a way to fix that, though.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it's such a wonderful and sweet book. At least I believe so. So what if somebody decided to republish it with new drawings?
Now we're getting somewhere. Smart one, this Nancy. I always thought so.
Oh, that is an interesting idea, something to ponder.
Well, let me explain something to the both of you. The world is full of good things coming from problematic actions. Let's not forget that these 2 things can be true. Goodness, look at my character herself, Nellie. She wrote a Mammy character.
Wait a minute. Mammies are bad? When did this happen?
It aged poorly, yes.
Well, why? My sister-in-law had such pleasant memories of her mammy. She talked about how kind and comforting she was to her and her siblings. I always thought that term was a term of endearment. Mammy, grandmother-like. I never meant for it to be a term of offense. I was trying to present positivity, goodness. I was trying to show some people what a good and kind grandmother should be.
And again, you did that. I feel the entire point of this conversation is really to admit that multiple things can be true. Shoot, I'm mad Persimmon Creek never became a movie. Hattie McDaniels could have played me, just like she played Mammy in Gone with the Wind. the most famous cinematic mammy of all time, and Hattie was the first black person to win an Oscar.
That sure would have been an honor for Hattie McDaniel to play you. I wonder if Persimmon Creek would have become a movie if I were a man.
Why would you say that? Margaret Mitchell was a woman.
Well, when I wrote my novels in the 1950s about little boys having adventures, my publisher wanted me to drop Nellie because Paige Carter sounded like a man's name, and they thought books about boys would sell better if written by a man.
Now remember what I said in the dream earlier, Nellie? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's still a step forward. Your books are published and you positively affected children's lives. Gotta remember that. Now it's true that Persimmon Creek is a problematic, what isn't in the 1950s. However, it was still a step forward. Look at how it affected Nancy. You are her hero. And it appears you were a hero to many others as well. You remember this.
Oh my, it's the New York Times review of Persimmon Creek. Would you indulge me? May I read it aloud?
Yes.
At the moment that George Jefferson Smiley and his sister, Princess Lulabelle Ada Corrine, stepped off the Prairie Express and started on foot on the final lap of the journey to Persimmon Creek, they walked straight into the affections of the reader, be he little or big. These 2 colored children are possessed of the most ingratiating qualities of their race, and their experiences with their grandmother in Missouri are recounted in a manner that equals their own spontaneity and high spirits. It should be a lasting addition to the shelf of regional stories. I won't bore you with the rest, but this review was really important to me. To be a woman reviewed by the New York Times was a huge breakthrough enough.
And the Journal of Negro Education at Howard University wrote a review too. I'm going to read it. Persimmon Creek is a story of 2 Negro children, Jeff and his sister, Princess Lulabelle Ada Corey, who, leaving their home in Kansas City, go to live with their grandmother in the country. Jeff, determined to get a mule for plowing and hauling, succeeded in doing this after a few months of hard work. White characters in the story are known to treat these 2 Negro children without prejudice. And Dick, a white boy, spends a great deal of his time playing with them. There seems to be no particular point in the story unless it is to acquaint white children with the Negro dialect used by the Negro characters, and with the pleasant yet simple side of the Negro rural life in the South. In both these respects, the white author seems fully qualified for this task. Well, would you look at that? A decent review from them as well. Y'all were scared they were going to tear it apart, weren't you?
A little, yes.
Have a little faith in us, Nellie.
I clearly do. When I wrote this book, I was really just trying to show that children are just children, and racism is honestly quite silly. This book that I wrote about children just playing together, it was an act of defiance, really, in my own way.
Do you remember when you visited my classroom, Mrs. Carter? You sat at the front of the room with all of us in a semicircle. To begin the presentation, we each introduced ourselves. When it was my turn, you told me...
I know your grandmother. Yes, I remember that very well.
Yes. Well, that moment, it made me feel very special. And I was sure to mention it when I went home that afternoon. My mother mentioned that you all played bridge together. So not long after that, I jumped on my bicycle and rode to the Missouri Valley College Library, located a few blocks from our house. I found both your books on the shelf, grabbed them, and rode home to read. At any rate, I settled down to read Persimmon Creek and found myself immediately frustrated. I prided myself on being a very fast reader. But of course, you had written this book in that African-American dialect.
What she perceived to be dialect of the African Americans in the 1930s.
Figuring out the dialect slowed me down. I remember going to my father and asking him why she had written it this way. But eventually I adjusted and became immersed in the novel. I think I loved the story because it took place in Arrow Rock. I knew the village very well, and when the characters looked at arrowheads in the tavern, I could picture the glass case where they were displayed. I could imagine traipsing around with them as they roamed through the village on their many adventures. So much of the story seemed real to me. The kids in the book were my friends. So yes, this book, it really inspired me, more than you know. Is it perfect? Well, no, it's not. We all know this. But maybe that's a good thing, too. You inspired so much. Series, residencies, conversations. And well, I'm grateful for that. So grateful.
I think I like that review the best.
I do too. Nancy, maybe you can get busy and make the Persimmon Creek movie happen. Get Viola Davis to play me. No, Angela Bassett.
I feel like any further development on this book or any other works, they should probably have more Negro involvement.
We say African American now, Nellie.
Really? What else has changed?
Oh, so much. But yes, I agree with Mirandy. Maybe there are ways I can help make this happen.
Oh, thank you both. I sincerely mean it. This was definitely an interesting conversation, but a necessary one as well. Look what you've inspired, Mirandy.
Well, when you look at it, I'm glad I can inspire some thinking and some talking.
Nellie, while I still have you, I would love it if you'd showed me around the different rooms in the J. Houston Tavern that you highlighted in the book. Would you do that for me?
Oh, Nancy, I'd be more than happy to.
Oh.
Mirandy, would you like to come with us?
Oh, no. You two go on. I'm going to finish talking to our new friends here.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Well. This is an interesting conversation we all just had. History is interesting, isn't it? In the end, what we do is look back at both the good and some of the bad. We take what we can and learn from it. As Nellie Page Carter's muse of sorts, I really can say I am proud of her. She was an extremely smart and intelligent woman. Her willingness to talk about racism through the eyes of children was very creative. And she did all this in the 1930s. Imagine that. A lot of good things have been inspired in this story by the book. I wonder what more will come of it. Thank you all for staying and listening to our conversation. Conversations like this are needed. If we had had more of them, I honestly think we'd be in a better place. If we had them sooner, I could have been played by Hattie McDaniels in the movies. Yes, I'm still sour about that. Goodness me. Let us raise a glass to Nellie Page Carter, and may she continue to inspire more conversations. And promise me, you'll have a lovely day, my dear ones.
So if you have a question, I want you to please raise your hand. She'll bring the microphone to you so that we can capture your question. And to get us kicked off, I would really love it if you could expand, Priska, on this part of the play where you have Miranda explain to Nellie and Nancy that the world is full of good things coming from problematic actions. And she then encourages them to remember that two things can be true.
So I think about like, so obviously I mentioned Hattie McDaniels a few times in the script. She was the first African American to win an Oscar. And even at the award ceremony, she wasn't allowed to in the room. Yeah, they had to record her getting the Oscar in a separate room because of segregation. But I've seen that video multiple times. She still cries, and she still like is appreciative of it. And I'm gonna misquote. I forgot her quote exactly because a lot of I think she played Mammy 30 times.
Wow.
Like that was her career. She played Mammy 30 times, and you know, people understandably got frustrated. African Americans got frustrated. Like you realize that you're doing a stereotype over and over again. And she said, Mammy has paid for my house, my mansion. I've seen her mansion. It's nice. She has an estate. And so that's what I kind of mean. Like, and also like in the 30s and 40s, during World War II, Looney Tunes, they had cartoons kind of taking a stand against what was going on in Europe and in Japan and stuff like that. The problem, though, if you look at those cartoons, they cannot be shown anymore.
Right.
Because especially the depiction of Japanese characters, extremely problematic. And so I understand the problematic part of it, and also the fact that like those actions were still them taking a stand at the time for what they believed. They did the best. They were doing the best that they could. I think everybody was doing the best that they could and learning, and then like growing from it. That's kind of what I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that great insight that you just provided. So do we have some questions out here? Raise your hand. Oh, there's one back there, actually.
I have a question. With today's social culture and everything, if a young girl or a young child was going to read Persimmon Creek, what age would you think that a young person could handle the context of that story?
Who's going to tackle that?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Oh, are you still Mike?
I am.
Okay.
I'm no expert, but having a child myself, I can only make my best guess that it would, if I had to pick an age out of a hat, I would probably say 7 or 8, but whatever age the child feels like they can really be willing to listen to what you're trying to explain, because it's so multi-layered. And it's not just pictures and words and a simple story. At this point, it's a true lesson in history and humanity and everything that surrounds what could be just a beautiful, simple story. But there's so much more, there are so many more layers to it now that we have a responsibility to explain. Yeah.
Is it something that could possibly evolve into a movie?
I don't know.
It could.
The right.
Let's see what.
The right
Yeah.
team.
With the right team. Yeah.
With the right team.
Sure.
Yeah. I think with the right team. Yeah. I really think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the book itself, we call it a novel. It's actually just a collection of these great stories, these adventures that the children have. And I think we have a lesson that Nancy Blossom has taught us in that as a child, she got frustrated reading it because of the dialogue. So I think for any parent or adult who wants to encourage a child to read the book, the adult has to be prepared to help the child navigate the dialogue. And Andrea's research and other scholars have pointed out that Mrs. Carter spent several years studying the dialect so she could try and get it correct. So her intention was to make it what she was experiencing here in the community to share that. But now, years later, it's harder for us to understand and read because that dialect's not used.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I have one more.
Yeah.
So I am already having regrets. So at what age would you read it to a person?
What do you mean regret?
Because I didn't read it to my daughter. She found it frustrating to read, and now I wish I would have read it to her and gone through it with her. So at what age would you read it to a
I don't
child?
believe you should live with regrets. So
Right.
let that go. But
I'm going to read it for me.
that's a case by case.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful story appropriate for any case. The stories are wonderful adventures, and as pointed out by Howard University's Journal of Negro Education back in 1938, all of the white characters are respectful of the black children. And so there's no problematic issues there. It's just navigating the dialect.
So at what age can I read it to my granddaughter?
Well, like you said, I think it's case by case. I
Yeah.
think if you know your granddaughter well enough to know, like, I think she's to a point to where we could really have some deeper conversations. Still age appropriate, of course, but trying to impart not just, oh, let's figure out how to sound out these words, but explaining the history behind it and also the responsibility that we have to be accepting and of everyone now, you know.
The Persimmon Creek Writers and Artists Residency has been renewed for another 5 years. So I would encourage you to follow them. They have a website and they have a program each summer that explores a lot of the things that we're talking about here on stage this morning.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Oh, we got one over here. Ashley, CG is quick as possible. She's an athlete.
First of all, a wonderful job. I had a chance to read it in advance, so it was good. Can you hear me? No? Okay. Wonderful job. I had a chance to read it in advance, and you all did a wonderful job acting it. I do have a question for the author, though, because it was a good read, and I was excited to see it come to life. What inspired you to write it in this style? Because when I was reading it, a whole bunch of things, I'm like a anime and movie buff guy. And when I saw stuff, I was like, I think I see where she got some inspiration from, but I didn't want to say. But now that you're here, what inspired you?
I don't know. Well, the book, of course. It was, I always, I guess, like, a bit of everything. I knew that I wanted to capture, especially with Miranda, the duality of, like, I didn't want to stick with the Mammy character in the dialect. I didn't want to stick with that. I really wanted to capture the duality of like, oh, like, I'm an actor. I'm this. I don't always speak like, yes, I'm master, yes, so this, and when, you know, she does do that, it's to make a point. Like, so really, I guess it was just like a bit of everything. Like, yeah.
Okay. I got one more thing to say, because I like your response, because it almost came out of my brain. It was a movie came out about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, A Christmas Carol. And that's when Charles Dickens was talking to Scrooge while he was writing Scrooge. And when I was reading that, the script, that's what popped up in my head. But then somebody just made a mention about, could it be a movie? And when you said that, my brain went to doing a time travel where somebody got stuck and then had to spend a day with the characters, but related to real life. So that was, but great job.
Yeah. I will say this, shout out to Andrea. Another thing that inspired me was like a lot of her research. There's like, and I really got to get into the head, I feel like, of Nellie Page Carter and like, kind of like with that too. So yeah.
So Jason and I were in the doctoral program together at the zoo, and we always joke that we're brothers from another mother. And you were reading my mind. We hadn't talked about this, but I love what Krista did in terms of creating this dialogue between Miranda and Nellie, because Nellie created the character of Mirandy, and Mirandy really serves as an accountability partner to Nellie, so that she is keeping her feet to the fire in the story. And that's a wonderful movie about Dickens and Scrooge being together because Dickens created Scrooge and how he navigated that. So it was brilliant, I thought, how he put that together. Yeah, there's another question over here.
I was wondering where the Persimmon Creek name came from. And the reason I asked that is my house is built on my house is, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, where I live is the lot that was Nellie Page Carter's house on Brunswick Street. And there were like 5 or 6 persimmon trees in the backyard. They have all died, but I think the last one died last year because she owned a great big old house. When my parents bought the lot, the house was torn down, and I think Nellie Page died a little bit after that. But I wondered where the name Persimmon Creek, if it had anything to do with, by the way, we still have her lilacs.
We don't know if there really was an actual.
Wonderful.
But where did the name Persimmon Creek, was that anything?
So I can address that because Nancy Blossom and I have talked about that a lot in Andrea's research. There's no place that we can identify that there was actually a place in Arrow Rock referred to as Persimmon Creek. So it may just have been that she as an author loved persimmons and decided to create that.
She had 5 or 6 trees.
Yeah, so that could be a part of that.
Thank you.
You know, I appreciate this, the whole thing, the book and the way this was written. And listening to the New York Times review and Howard University review, I'm wondering, were there any other reviews that said no, that this shouldn't? I mean, was there any negative feedback on this book at the time?
So I'll start and you can jump in. Based on what I have researched, at the time, those were the key reviews that happened. So it was more a positive push. But through the years, you can look through reviews on whatever that website is. There are reviews that people have commented through the years reading it that are more critical of that. There hasn't been a deep dive academically from a critical scholarship standpoint to look at the book. But I think when you look broadly across the 80 plus years since it was published, most of the criticism comes into the dialect and the illustrations.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Yeah. From what I looked into, I feel like the reviews that were written at the time, like especially from Howard, were like, they didn't scream the N-word, so and we're all existing, so that's great. And I think I know some of the artists that have been in residency, African American artists, have like discussed like, this feels weird that she's writing in the style of Paul Laurence Dunbar, and like this feels strange. But yeah, I haven't found any negative reviews from the time yet. I do wonder what it would look like if it came out now, since we have Twitter and social media. Yeah.
Everyone would have an opinion.
Yes.
And I had one comment about the dialect piece, and some of the dialogue that went on about the dialect. Just as a woman of a certain age, coming up and reading like Paul Laurence Dunbar and other writers who wrote in dialect, I don't know, it helped us to have an appreciation of the dialect and kind of understand why perhaps our grandparents still spoke like that. So that was my experience with coming up and memorizing several things written by Paul Laurence Dunbar and others who did write in dialect.
What a great perspective. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Oh, here's one.
I'm not sure if it's as much a question and as it is a comment maybe. I love that you put the two things can be true, because if we would use that more, it would normalize certain things. There's not much new under the sun as an educator, listening to the woman asking about at what age would you read this. There's been the doll study showing that at as young as 2 years of age, the normal process children go through in recognizing race, but yet we continue to make it so difficult to just have a conversation about race when it is a normal factor in life. But maybe the final piece is sister-in-law of Victoria. You did a great job. Probably the best I've seen you. Also,
That's my brother. He'll give it to you later.
but also our daughter is a sophomore at Howard, and Howard is a very unique environment. And listening to the review, it is truly a place of Black excellence and academia. And I would just say for all in the audience that there's an attack against historically Black colleges and the environment that it cultivates. And so a conversation like this is just so continually necessary.
Thank you. Ashton, you've got a question there in the back. Got a couple of questions in the back there.
Is this on? Okay. I was thinking a lot of the same things as a lot of other people have said in here. And as far as an educator, as far as what age, I really think it's at an age you could read this to a young person at an age where they can fully understand and comprehend the complexities. I can remember To Kill a Mockingbird and not understanding the complexities of that because I read it too young. So I would, as an educator, caution that. But that's just my opinion. But what I really want to know is that if you're not going to explain and take the time, don't let them read it on their own. They need to. It needs to be fully. This is a good book, and it needs to be fully engulfed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really wondering what each person, the director, the author, the actors, what you each learned, something new going through this process with this book.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, that's your mom?
Yes. Speaking as the director, I'm a student at Missouri Valley College, where our international population is very high, and so many different cultures, so many different people come together. And I think it's really important to tell this story. And for me specifically, like as a woman, also watching these three lovely ladies explain this story is incredible. I've definitely learned to speak up and advocate for things like this. And I think it's important, and it's a necessary conversation where we kind of hit the point of this is what needs to be said, especially in schools as well. I'm also going into education like my mother. So I think at the necessary age, you really, like she said, you really need to understand the complexities of the story and what the message is trying to, hit home. So, yeah.
One thing that I've really been learning with this whole process. So a bit background. When I first came here, as an African American woman, I get nervous when I go to small towns. I get ready. I just get nervous when I go to small towns. And so, when I first came here, I was nervous. I was like, here we go. I don't know what's going to happen. And there's been a saying that's been going around in podcasts, online that has been encouraging people to get offline, and that's touch grass. Get out and touch grass, because having conversations is so important. like this town is really cool. I like it. And and like it's been so cool like just having community conversations. Like that's like yes, like being online has helped expand and like, mobilize, but also like mobilization happens in like small small churches, like small like having dinners, having conversations and like and it's easier to find and discuss nuance when you're in person versus typing it and then because somebody will read it a certain way and then like the whole problem and stuff. So that's something that I've really been relearning and like coming to terms with like with this whole process of like we're all having a conversation, like get out and touch grass, let's before yeah.
Am I still on? Okay, thank you. 100%. Yes, I agree. My answer is two-part. For me, as a white woman, I think that this is just another chance and example to examine how good intentions can also be misperceived. And so, like Nellie Page Carter, was doing her very best to write a story that she thought would help change some minds and things like that. Did it still get some things wrong? Yes, because at the time she was doing her best with what she knew at the time to try and break that barrier. And as we've progressed, we now can see that was one try. That was a choice, but at least it was a choice. At least it was a choice in the right direction. And so just continuing to stay aware of how we all don't have a choice in what we look like. We don't. And so even though that is a fact, because of how our world and our societies are structured, however you came into this world looking like means that you kind of have certain responsibilities. And whether you ask for them or not, And so I think it's a continuing awareness of doing our best with what we know and then continuing to stay open to learning how we can do it even better and be better. And my second part is that as a parent now, I have a 4-year-old, and so she will not be reading Persimmon Creek right now, but I have a responsibility as her parent to present those things and be willing to dive deeply into explaining them, like you said. And that's a responsibility that we all share, to stay aware and to be willing to be open to realizing, oh, I thought I was doing it the best way. Oh, I just learned something new. I can reroute.
Good. I agree with all of them. Wasn't that fantastic?
Oh, thank you.
As a children's author, I thought that was so creative to use our children to tell the truth. I did read the book. I loved it. It took me a minute with the dialect, but it's just a story about kids hanging out and having fun, which I experienced as a child in a small town with kids that did not look like me. My father is a pastor, and people are surprised when they come to our church. You're like, you have all colors in your church. I'm like, duh. That's how it's supposed to be. So I was blessed to be raised colorblind, but wise to know when to remind people of my truth. So that's one thing I learned. Plus, they were so much fun. Plus, I'm like inside her head. And once again, for this awesome opportunity to tell stories. Let's give Mr. Mike, Dr. Mike, a round of applause. I appreciate that. And that's it. That's all I have.
Well, for me, I was just generally learning the history because I'm brand new to Arrow Rock. I'm brand new to this part of the country and to Missouri. Didn't know who Nellie Page Carter was. I didn't know the book Persimmon Creek. So even before I landed here, Michael invited me to be a part of this, and I'm just so grateful to now know this piece of history and have this incredible experience. So thank you for that.
Thank you to all of you for bringing the story to life in a great way. I appreciate all of your support and for being here today. This set is for Arsenic and Old Lace here at the Lyceum. And I kind of imagine this might have been what Nellie Page Carter's Victorian home that you live in the lot looked like. So how appropriate for us to perform right here, and let's just call it Nellie Page Carter's parlor, right? And I also found out that there are still tickets left for the 2 performances today and the closing tomorrow of Arsenic and Old Lace. So if you want to see it, give the box office a call. Thank you. We'll see you in April.